Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be a group energy healing for 142 people in 14 different countries. How cool is that? And this is the first healing in the set of 3 called the October triplet set. And then later this month, we'll have the October twin set of 2 healings. And this whole month, the theme of the healings will be your body, your physical body, food, fitness, and face, which is a vast and delicious theme. I can't wait. So just talking generally about the theme, food choices, you know, what you choose to eat. There can be past life things, you know, past life baggage that is influencing your food choices. And we don't have to know exactly which they are, but I mean, you know, obvious gimmies would be like, you know, if a loved one starved in a past life, you know, then it could like give you trauma around food, you know, that's very subconscious now. Or, you know, water is interesting too, drinking water, because it's a real big health thing. To drink enough water, you know, it's super important. But some people, me, not as much anymore, but yes, before, and I know this is a thing for some people, they don't like drinking water, or they just don't like drinking enough water, you know, that your body needs, and it's really important. So, and there can absolutely be past life baggage about that. Like, you know, you could have had a lifetime or several where the water wasn't safe to drink. And so it kind of subconsciously freaks you out to drink water. You know, whereas maybe if you drink tea or, you know, something else, it's like it doesn't bring up the same baggage. So you're okay drinking it. So it's good to clear that baggage so that you can, you know, have an easier time getting in all the water drinking that you need to stay healthy. Things, fitness, obviously, you know, there can definitely be baggage in the way of you valuing your physical body and your vitality enough that you do enough regular fitness, exercising for yourself, you know, stretching and exercising. And that's huge, you know, and sometimes it's, you know, you're needing to clear cultural stereotypes or judgments around physical activity, or of course past life baggage around physical activity. You know, maybe in some cultures even now, I think sedentary lifestyles are valued as like higher status, you know, and like low status people have to have a physical job, you know, and physical manual labor for their work, for employment. And so it could be subconsciously influencing you against physical activity and making it not something that's appealing for you, which is a huge disadvantage for your health and your long-term functioning. So, and again, that can be past life stuff, present life stuff. So it's great to be able to overcome that stuff so that you can make the most of your vitality in this lifetime and be as high functioning as possible for as long as possible. Face is awesome. I mean, part of that has to do with body. It's a sort of, I would consider face, you know, what I was talking about healing your face as a subset of body image. In that both, there's a lot involved in how you perceive your own face and you perceive your own body, and then how you choose to show it to others. And it's all super intertwined. And so I think that'll be a great topic to work to help, you know, heal and clear subconscious baggage from this life and past lives that is, you know, influencing how you feel about your body and your appearance and your face itself. And also, you know, actually doing energy healing on, you know, like the meridians around the face and stuff, around the eyes is super cool. So there's just so much that we could do. Can't wait. So moving on to how the heck are we going to work that today in this healing? Okay, so today, somebody says, "Woo, you're on time. I can hear and see you. Thank you so much." Yeah, I'm not on time, but I'm only 18 minutes after the earliest possible start time, and I understand that's shocking, and nobody will see that coming. Okay, so but anyway, today, what are we doing today? So the biggest concept I'll describe first, and it has to do with yeah. Okay. So today's biggest concept will be clearing immersion blocks, and it's going to take me just a couple concepts to get up to that to explain what I mean by that. So you want forward momentum, right? You want to keep making progress, and sometimes you do one thing, you accomplish one thing, and it's exciting. It's like, oh, I did it! Wow, that's great! I finally got that done, and it can give you a momentum so that the next thing you're trying to do is not as hard. So how would you get that though if you're like fully stuck right now on, say, a project or many projects? um, well, baby steps, right? So sometimes you know your baby steps and you've picked approachable baby steps. So approachable ways to start working on a project. And it's way more likely that you're going to actually do these tasks if you're thinking of them in baby steps. Whereas if you think of like, like with me, like I have all these plants and I knew it was risky, but I thought, well, whatever I do of it, it's worth it, So I got myself a bunch of fall perennial plants, some of which I grew in the house over the summer, some of which I purchased. But I got plants that I have to plant this fall, like now, in the next month or so before, it starts getting like brutally cold out. Well, at night. So that they're perennials and then hopefully they survive the winter and then, it's less work for me to do in the spring and summer next year and they'll just come back and it'll be fabulous, right? So I knew that was a risk. But if I don't think of it in baby steps, then I'm thinking of like, however many plants there are, 50 or something. And, all the, plots that I need to clear. Cause it's not like it's just a garden bed just weeded and ready for me. It's just like rando weeded area that I have to like start from scratch in. And weed it and, get out the rocks and discover long buried landscape fabric 10 feet down and well, I'll put down and, whatever. There's work, But if I think of it in baby steps, like, okay, well, first just finish mulching the beds you've already planted. Second, think of what is your one next planting location and start preparing that. You know what I mean? Like tunnel in, just think of the one thing, because if you're thinking of everything, it can paralyze you, right? And so subconsciously, people do that a lot. When they're stuck, they're just thinking of the whole thing. They're not thinking of, okay, just this one task, just this one thing. They're thinking of, I have to find a job, or I have to plant all my plants, or I have to, get physically fit, and I have to blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's they see the panorama and they get stuck on it. So, but even people that know that baby steps are important can still get stuck on thinking of the whole picture and not thinking of the baby steps. And why is that? Well, immersion blocks. So there are energy blocks that if you have them, it's just like your face gets in all your blocks at once. And it's like you're immersed in your pain. Now, pain, energy blocks, I'm using those as synonyms, right? But your baggage. So you can get so immersed in your baggage that it's just like deer in the headlights. You're like, and you forget the whole concept of picking baby steps and blah, blah, blah. It's just, out the window. Even if, maybe even for a living, you help other people figure out baby steps. It doesn't matter. It's like there are some blocks that will just, it's like your kryptonite, and they're just like, and all of a sudden you're like, all you see is the panorama and you just can't get up. I fall and I can't get up, right? So they're just energy blocks, but they happen to be ones that just get you in a special way. Just aspects of your personal baggage that it's just like, ooh, that one's a little too real, and then all of a sudden you're in the headlights. La la la, baby steps. What's a baby step? So we're gonna clear these immersion blocks, these blocks that for you immerse you in your pain, right? And so, because what you want is you want to have distance from your pain, but you still want to be present. Like sometimes that's why people, drink and, take drugs to pop out, because they want distance from their pain. But that's obviously really unhealthy. Alcohol's a toxin for your liver, yada, yada. If you want to drink in moderation, it's totally up to you. But I'm just saying, why would someone, be like, glug, 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 liver toxin, yum, yum, yum? It's because their pain doesn't feel good and they really want a distance from it, in like a huge way, So, but if we can clear the immersion blocks, you can stay here and get a perspective and a distance from your pain so that it's not like you're not swimming in it, right? And that's really, really good. If you can actually stay present, then you could actually accomplish some shit, and not poison your liver and, all sorts of good things, So that's the general concept. We're going to clear immersion blocks so that you can get a constructive level of distance from your pain. And therefore, with that new perspective, then you can think, oh, yeah, okay, so that's the whole thing that I was stuck on. And here are some baby steps, and is this baby step small enough that I would likely do it today? No way. Okay, so there's a smaller baby step. Would I likely do that one today? Yes. Okay, so that one's baby enough. You see what I'm saying? But to be able to do that, you need to not be swimming in your pain. You need to not be immersed, right? So that you can think logically. Remember the self-help stuff that you know really well already. That's why sometimes like knowledge does not necessarily equal the ability to apply your knowledge, right? So clearing immersion blocks will hopefully help you to be able to apply some of this awesome spirituality and self-help knowledge that you already have, by maybe making baby steps and accomplishing some of them and getting your forward momentum. So I hope that makes sense. Now that little being back there that looks like a genetic cross between a kitten and a squirrel, I will explain at the end of the live stream during the pet update section. So just saying. So that was a teaser about the pet update at the end of this live stream. Okay. So that's the first thing that we're going to work on. Well, that's the main thing we're going to work on today is clearing immersion blocks, which will help all aspects of the theme, but it will help in other ways too, just with all sorts of projects that you care about. So then, okay. So then another thing we're doing today, to specifically work the face part of food, fitness, face as a subset of body image, we will work any sort of body image baggage, we're clearing it by healing a body image garden. So we'll imagine all your energy, including the baggage, including other people's energy, blocking your energy about your body image. We'll imagine all that as a garden. You could imagine it as a beach if you prefer beach imagery, or, you know, a river, an ocean, whatever. But I'm going to heal it as a garden. And so we're going to heal your body image gardens, which will help you to, get rid of conscious and subconscious baggage about body image. It'd be great. Okay. So that doesn't need much explaining, but will be fabulous. Okay, so about food and beverages, the food fitness face part, the food part. So I alluded to this a little bit already in the first, what will be the first chapter of this live stream discussion, that you can have past life baggage around food and present life baggage around food, of course. Part of that could be body image baggage, which, like I already just explained, we're going to heal as a garden body image stuff. But the food stuff, just to give some examples, like what food you choose to eat, the timing of your food, how often you eat, when you eat, which food you choose, your portion amounts, all that can be, your perception of your body's hunger and your perception of your body's needs can be colored by fears and baggage that you have in your space, from this life or past lives, or from other people dumping it in your space, whatever, yada yada. But also things you may not have thought of, which are kind of interesting, is how you eat food, like whether you are seated or standing, like how you prefer to eat food, all that. How you purchase your food, how you store your food, your preparing of your food, all that stuff can be very past lifey as far as, baggage and stuff. So obviously you want to be able to, just enjoy your food experiences and be efficient and, whatever. And so it should be interesting to see how clearing present and past life baggage affects that. Beverages, I already touched on a little bit, drinking water, but drinking beverages like alcoholic beverages, but also, any kind of beverage, can be very influenced by present and past life baggage and energy from loved ones, in this or past lives. So that should be interesting. So we're going to, as far as fitness, physical fitness, like exercising, stretching, doing it, in a regular way, regular enough so that, you're getting strong and healthy and staying that way as much as possible. We're going to be clearing procrastination baggage, because you may have fitness goals, but you just keep putting them off, and you're possibly not aware of why you're putting them off, or maybe you have a conscious reason, but there's a lot of subconscious baggage behind that, sort of fueling your procrastination. And then also the inertia, just that idea of, if you're not already in that pattern of working out or stretching very regularly, then there's this inertia of like, it might feel less comfortable to change your current pattern. So we're going to clear inertia baggage that causes you to just, not want to change. You could have baggage causing you to just lean towards what's familiar. And so, you know, if you're not already working out a lot or enough, then what's familiar would be not working out enough. So, you know, it should be good to start clearing. Not sure if we'll do it as a garden or blanket exercise or what we'll do. There are lots of good options. So we'll see. Oh, also, let's see. So we did this last healing, the second healing in the September twin set of 2025, where the 5 essentials that we always do at the start, which is grounding, or repair, creative ring repair, chakra repair, and stuff back here, good karma window repair, and base of skull, acupuncture point unblocking and stuff. Usually I do those as concise chapters, one at a time, grounding, and then aura repair, and then creative ring repair, and then chakra repair. But it gets boring that way for me sometimes, you know, and I think for a lot of veterans, you know, it can get boring that way. So I'll just do one big section of 5 essentials, and I'll just improvise among all of them and add a couple extra things for spiciness, and you know, there'll just be one chapter of improvised melange of 5 essentials, etc. Just to keep things interesting. Maybe I will do some unblocking of sinuses. We did that in the second healing of, you know, the last healing. Twin set 1 of 2 last month. So I don't know. Unblocking sinuses is on the maybe pile. So that's it. It's a lot. See. There you go. So I see, do I have any salesy stuff? Little sales stuff before I say hi to the chat people. So my website is jwhealing.com, which is similar to the name of this YouTube channel. And you can go on there, even if I've never worked with you before, and go ahead and purchase a set of these healings if you wish. You're more than welcome to, and you can email me afterwards and say, hey, if you want. Otherwise, you can wait around for me to email you, which I'm not really prompt with that. Do it. But yeah, I'm happy to work with anybody, including your loved ones too. Like, say you have a partner that is not really consciously psyched about spirituality, but you know they really need a healing. You can buy them a healing. Let me know who they are. You know, John Doe husband, and then I'll just ask John Doe husband on a spirit level if he wants the healing, and if he says yes telepathically to me, which is, you know, a sort of a more evolved part of him and a more significant part of him, if that part of him says yes, then that's fine with me. I'll give him a healing. No, I do heal a lot of people's loved ones. Because, you know, funny thing, sometimes the people that are really not excited about energy healing are the ones that really need it. So it's a nice thing that works. I can just ask their spirit. That way, karmically, everything's cool. Okay. So that's my sales thing. Oh, and well, the October twin set later this month, that's still for sale on my website. Not a ton of spots left, but there are spots left for that same theme, food, fitness, space. And so we'll find new and exciting ways to work it for the twin set, which should be awesome. And then the November healings are already on my website. And that one has to do with discipline. So it's sort of a cousin of this one, actually. I think it mostly has to do with discipline. So it's not especially discipline about fitness or food or face, but it's a good follow-up and going beyond. Discipline as in the ability to work towards your own long-term goals, even if they're not fun half the time because it's hard work, but to get yourself to do it. And also in a balanced, healthy way, not, obviously. So that's what I remember of the November theme, but it's on my website, jwhealing.com. And if you don't get my news emails, you could email me and ask to be on my news email list. You do have to ask because I don't want to be spammy, so I don't just add people willy-nilly. So that's my email address, janet@jwhealing.com. If you want to say hi, if you want to ask for the free 2-page chakra handout, or if you want to ask to be on my news email list, you can do that. Okay, so now I'm going to say hi to chat comments. We don't have as many chat comments today. That could be because my start time is later than it used to be by about 2 hours. But it could also be because nobody expected me to start only 18 minutes after the earliest possible posted start time for this live stream. Who knows? Could be Thursday. People are at work. They can't do live chat. Anyway, yeah, Woot, you're on time. I saw that one. Thank you. Hello from Ottawa, Canada. 66 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny. How nice of you to put it in Fahrenheit for us ignorant Americans. I spent time today preparing the flower boxes and backyard for winter. It feels good. Tree trimming and Virginia creeper trimming. Rose bush was hard to trim. Well, thanks for the garden update. That's nice. So you're not procrastinating as a gardener right now. That's good. Someone says hi from Evanston. Hello to you. 77 degrees Fahrenheit and clear skies. Well, there you go. Weather report for Chicago area, Chicagoland area. I used to live in Evanston. I used to live in Chicago and I used to live in Evanston. Someone says, hey, Janet from sunny Las Vegas, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. See, that would be very hot for us, but for you, that's probably cooler. Happy October. 442 people? No, 142 people. Yeah. Not up to 442 people yet. I can't handle that. That would be too much. But yeah, 142 people in 14 different countries. Still a lot and still awesome. I'm grateful to everybody that wants to get a healing. It's going to be fun. Let's see. I'll correct that for the record. Okey-doke. Yeah. So we can get going. Oh, got another hello. Yay. Hello, 2:49 a.m. in Qatar. I know. Sorry about that. Less hot temps. Thank goodness. Oh, good. 26 to 36 degrees centigrade, which is 79 to 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you so much for giving us Fahrenheit for the ignorant Americans. I really appreciate that. You're so nice. Well, good. I'm glad you're getting more moderate temperatures, relatively speaking. Although for us, 97 would be a raging heat wave. Oh, and I didn't say my location. For those of you that don't know, I'm in Olympia, Washington, the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And we have a rainforest climate here. And now we are entering the rainy season, which is about 2/3 of the year. So, but today is bright and sunny. So that's nice. Thank you for the flower emojis. Please heal me. Oh, yeah. I can't just heal anybody that watches live, unfortunately, because I have to prepare. I have to know your first and last name. I have to prepare my energy so that I can do a good job. So, you would need to buy it in advance on my website. It's not that much money though. There are financial need rates. But I would be very excited to work with you if you want in the next set of healings, which is later this month, on the same theme. But for today, you could heal yourself as you watch. You're super welcome to do that because once I start going after like the first minute of quiet, I say out loud what I'm doing as I do it. So even if you have no experience healing yourself, you can wing it and you'll be better than you maybe think you would be. But yeah, so feel free to check out my website, jwhealing.com. And if you want purchase one of the other sets of healings, you could email me, say hi too if you want. And I had just a moment ago, I had all that on the screen. That's my website. And there's a contact page on my website that lists my email address if you'd prefer just emailing me regularly, or you could use the contact page on my website to email me, to message me. Either way. But yeah, I would be happy to heal you in a future set very soon this month, if you wish. Someone says, hi, Janet, 61 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny in New Hampshire. New Hampshire in the United States. Well, hello to you. And thank you for the autumn emojis. I tend to forget. We have like some of our some of our blueberry bushes turn autumn colors a little bit. So I don't see much more autumn colors right now because most of what I see are evergreen trees all around. Which is cool though, because then they stay green. So that's nice. But thanks for the weather report, and I'm glad it's sunny. That's nice. This is random thought. I think you would like Josh Johnson, an American comedian. I recall you liking Craig Ferguson. I do like Craig Ferguson. Yeah, he's a sweet. He used to. I mean, I don't watch him these days, but he used to have a show that we watched. We used to say, it's a great day for America. He used to say that all the time. It's a great day for America. I'll look up Josh Johnson. It could be that I already like him. I just don't know his name. If my husband's still listening, he can look up Josh Johnson and see if it's one of the people we already listened to. But I will look it up later and report back. But thanks for the reference. Can always use some laughs these days. Alrighty. So I'm gonna do 3 minutes of quiet right before I start. Towards the end of the 3 minutes of quiet, I'll start healing, and you'll see me go like that. That's how you know I started. But then, like a minute or two after the quiet healing, then I'll talk out loud as I heal. The whole rest of the healing, I'm saying out loud what I'm doing as I do it. So if you want, you could use it as a self-healing walkthrough, and do for yourself what I'm describing. And so if you're a newbie, motivated newbie, adventurous newbie, bold newbie, that would be fine. You'd do great. Or even up to, an advanced self-healer, even up to pro healer, there would likely be very interesting things for you in the healing if you want. But if I'm healing you, you don't have to heal yourself at the same time. You could nap, you could exercise, you could clean your house, you could hang out with your kids or your friends or go to work or whatever you need to do. Life goes on. But either way, I'm healing you if you purchase the set of healings on my website before they sold out. Thank you. See, my husband's still listening. What a nice guy. He says we do like Josh Johnson. Okay. All right. Then I'm thinking of who he is. As I thought, well, is that Josh Johnson? But if he's saying that we do like him, then yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's good. He's good. Alrighty. What else? Yeah. So let's do the 3 minutes of quiet. during that time I finished my prep, I just say hi to the 142 people that I'm about to start healing. I'll say hi to them non-verbally, telepathically, so that even if they're not one of the live stream watchers, they'll know on a spirit level that the healing's about to start. Okie dokie. Okie doke. So, thanks for waiting. So, boo. All right. Oh, it's this freaking camera. It always always moves its own focus around. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that. I'm sorry for the OCD people that want me to be centered because my camera does not make that. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so you have a big hand chakra in the palm of each hand, and you have fingertip chakras, one in each fingertip, right? And so those chakras generate energy. All chakras generate energy, right? So, but those particular chakras, hand and fingertip chakras, you can set to a metallic gold color with your intention. You don't have to be able to see energy, just think it. You set those chakras to a metallic gold color. And what that does is it changes the vibration of the energy that's generated so that you're generating gold light, as opposed to blue light, white light, whatever. White light's too high, I would say, sort of like freebasing coffee or something. It's just not going to help you be present. So I don't really know what freebasing is. It's just a thing. But anyway, so use gold light and use the gold light from one hand to unblock the other hand. All right. And you can also make a copy out in front of you of what you're healing. So we can do like neck, shoulders, arms, hands. Just make a copy out in front of you of, you know, just like AccuDoll here. So neck, shoulders, arms, hands. Use cold light from your hands to unblock the energy flow down your neck, shoulders, arms, and out your hands. And always when we mention a part of the body, like neck, shoulders, arms, and hands, the auras around that part of the body are equally as important, because the auras, if they're whole and flowing, that's really helpful. If they're ripped up or blocked, then it causes pain, and it makes it easier for invasive energy to come in and just cause pain. So, you can gold light through your gold light to heal your auras around your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Okay. Sometimes when I heal, I get really warm. So use the wardrobe changes. I don't know if you saw that live stream, but there was this one live stream where I was talking about how apparently in some Japanese like grade schools, the girls aren't allowed to wear ponytails because I guess the back of the neck is considered too erogenous and distracting for the little boys. Sometimes when I put my hair up in a ponytail, I'm thinking about that. It's just so funny. Oh, anyway. Okay. Okay. So let's start with grounding. So you could recreate your groundings, make them big and wide as all your auras, and wide all the way down to the core of the earth. And I would suggest that both your groundings, the one for your astral body and the one for your physical body, are the same color. So both red or orange or yellow. And just make a copy out in front of you of your groundings and use gold light to unblock them. And you might have people that you work with in your grounding, clients, colleagues, teachers. You might have family members in your grounding, and it's just not an appropriate place for other people, in my opinion. should be just for you. Their grounding's going to work better if you're not in it either. So, you know, to each his own, basically. So just wash everybody out with gold light. Doesn't hurt them. And indie grounding is where you check the outer surface all the way down of both your groundings and just use so much gold light that you're melting away any attachments coming into your grounding. Just melt them away. Gold light from your hands. Also, the bottom, maybe bottom half of your auras. So your auras, you have 17 auras. And so there's astral body aura, physical body aura, and then there's 15 that are called Wei Qi auras. Wei Qi is a traditional Chinese medicine concept, strong boundaries energy. So you have 15 of those auras, and it's roughly like one per certain meridians. So each of those Wei Qi auras protects and nourishes one of your meridians. So, but you want to unblock the lower part of your auras especially, because otherwise it's like a hard bowl that holds in stuff that you're trying to release down your grounding. So just unblock under your feet and around your legs, especially under your feet. And under your feet and above your head in all your auras, those are like, I guess if you could unblock only 2 locations, those would be the 2. Unblock your auras above your head. So, aura repair, like I said, you have 17 auras, astral body aura, physical body aura, 15 auras called Wei Qi auras. So let's repair all the rips in all your auras at the same time, using composite copy technique. So you imagine an image of a rip, and you say with your intention, okay, well, this rip represents all the rips that I currently have in my 17 auras. So then as you repair this composite copy rip, you're repairing all your rips. So how do you repair your rip? You clean it out first, and then you use gold light, and it grows back. So you clean it out first with sticky gold wax. And that's gold light from your hands that hardens and sticks to whatever's not you. And then you can lift it out like a big lump and give it to your angels. So you have your composite copy rip, sticky gold wax, lift out all the junk at the same time. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, lift out all the junk. Angels, here you go. So what is the junk? Hard objects people have thrown at you, invasive people's energy, invasive beings. That's the basic gist. So sticky gold wax, lift out all that junk. Angels, here you go. You can say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are in the way of this repair? And get the gold light as deep as you can in the rip so that it starts to grow back. And just keep going until you're sure, because it's like tempting to stop right before it's done when it's still like kind of bumpy and weird at the surface. So keep using gold light until it's fully repaired and nice and bouncy and up. Oak. So that probably repaired most of the rips, but in case you have 1 or 2 left over, we will do it one more time for the leftover rips. So make an image of a rip and say, okay, well, this represents any leftover rips. And then do the same process. Sticky gold wax, lift out all that junk at once. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, lift out all the junk. Angels, here you go. And then use enough gold light that you Start repairing. Say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle? And check the outer surface of all your auras. Check for leaks. Use gold light. You can redo your gold buffer zones. Those are gold buffers. They're flowy gold buffers that you can make and attach to the edge of your astral body aura and the edge of the physical body aura. Then you just recreate them whenever you need to. All right. So creative rings, they're up here, the top of your, above your astral body head. And there's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and they're gold. And they generate lots of gold light. And it forms a nice protective gold buffer right there, protecting, important stuff here, your GV meridian and your 7th chakra. And also these creative rings send gold light downward to all your major chakras along your spine, which is really helpful. It's easy not to be able to see your creative rings. If you have invasive energy kind of wrapping them, then you'll look for them and you're like, they're not there. But part of that is because you have invasive energy, like usually in a white color, wrapped around your creative rings, and that invasive energy is also affecting your 7th chakra and your 6th chakra, so it's kind of like shutting down your ability to see what's there. But always good news in energy healing. The good news is you can get rid of junk that's around your creative rings and your upper chakras so that you can see them better, and they're fun to like geek out about and repair and good stuff. So let's do that. So that was explaining creative rings. I should see its own. Okay. So creative rings. So just make a copy out in front of you of your 3 gold creative rings. Whether or not you can see them, go ahead and just be like, well, okay, they exist. Fine. Here's the copy. And then have your 7th chakra and your 6th chakra as well. Because we want you to be able to see them, and that's 6th chakra. So may as well clean all of it out at once. So creative rings, 7th and 6th chakras. So creative rings, 7th chakra in the top of your head and 6th chakra in behind your forehead. So what we can do is do sticky gold wax and have the sticky gold wax from your hands stick to all, if there is like, vision blocking kind of energy around your creative rings and in your upper chakra 7 and 6. Just have the sticky gold wax stick to all that, and then just move it out. Give it to your angels. Angels, can you help me with that? Right, so sticky gold wax, have it stick to whatever's wrapped around your creative rings that may make it harder for you to see them. And then sticky gold wax, your 7th and your 6th chakras. Move out all that junk. Angels, here you go. So then repair. So they're 3 gold rings, right? But they can have breaks in them, cracks, subtle cracks, or, just missing chunks. It is totally possible. And so you can just use gold light and repair them. Just use so much gold light that they grow back. And you can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this creative ring repair and healing, can you please recycle them? So then, in addition to just basic repair, there are flaps around chakra openings as well as around your creative rings. So I drew how they look around your creative rings. This is when they're irritated and open. You don't want this state, but that's how it looks when they're open. So just FYI. So that's a top-down view of one of your creative rings, any one of them, when the flaps are open. And why would they be open? They would be open because you have cords going into them from invasive beings or invasive people, and their energy is going in, and it irritates the ring itself and kind of puffs it out. Flaps pop open. So you don't want that, because that's going to make it easier for more invasive beings or invasive people to cord you. So just don't force the flaps shut, but just keep melting cords so that the flaps can relax and fall shut. So you just use gold light and melt away the crud that is kind of jamming the flaps open, melt away the cords. So you can imagine the invasive beings that are cording your creative rings just as like sort of weird clouds. And then the lines of light between the weird clouds and the rings. And just say, angels, can you recycle all these invasive beings? But you don't have to imagine them if you don't want. You could just say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings cording my creative rings? But that is not a perfect request. You may have to keep asking as you're working a couple times. And for some reason, the areas that are most corded tend to be, like if it was a clock on the creative ring, then 6 and 12 and 3 and 9 o'clock tend to be the most corded. Although you can get a cord anywhere around there, but you can't see, then just work extra the 3, 6, 12, and 3, 9, 6, and 12 areas. And the nice thing, well, one nice thing about having your creative ring flaps fall shut, then it can start a chain reaction where the flaps of your major chakras also fall shut. And to be clear, if the flaps fall shut, your energy still flows nicely. It's just harder for other people to cord you. So let me get my little chakra paper thingy. All right, so you have flaps around the chakra openings as well. But anyway, so just gonna now do the chakras and the creative ring. All your major chakras along your spine. 7 through 1. 7 is in the top of your head. 1 is at the base of your spine. You have 2 sets of 7 chakras. So 1 is in your astral body along your spine, and then 1 is in your physical body along your physical body spine. And then you have filaments. They're cords, but it's you cording you. You cording your body. So I call them filaments. Sometimes people think of cords as a negative thing, if it's an invasive person cording you, obviously that's not a positive. But so anyway, these are chakra filaments, I call them. So between your physical 7th and your astral 7th, that's a 7th chakra filament. Gold light. And if you set both your 7th chakras to purple, which I think is an ideal color for the 7th chakra, then that 7th chakra filament ideally would be purple as well, unless it's got a lot of weird energy from other people or invasive beings in it. So use gold light to clean out that 7th chakra filament. And 6th chakra filament, blue, like a deep blue, is nice for your 6th chakra behind your forehead for clairvoyance and non-judgment. I'm just going to quickly go down through the other filaments. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can use gold light to repair and unblock them. Melt away anything that's not you from these chakra filaments. So chakra repair. So this is a basic chakra shape, an open cylinder. So we're going to repair and unblock all your chakras at the same time. So all your major chakras along your spine, but then all your chakras, including all these cool acupuncture points, including like chakras along like that energy channel down your arms and your through your shoulders and your arms, you know, major energy channels, little ones. You have a lot of chakras. So chakras, they generate energy and they keep the energy flowing as well. So you can just make a copy like this out in front of you of a chakra and just say, okay, well, this represents all my major and minor chakras of my body and my spirit. So every chakra I have, right? And then just say, okay, I'm going to use this to repair and unblock all my chakras, right? So then you just use gold light and do that. And you can have some invasive beings in the way. You could just, there's so many interesting ways you could do that. You could freeze any invasive beings, like freeze them with your intention. So it's like ice cubes. So invasive being ice cubes. And then you just lift off the invasive being ice cubes and give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. So freeze the invasive beings that are messing with your chakras. Lift them out like ice cubes. Angels, here you go. And just go ahead and keep repairing your chakras. So your chakras can be damaged in different ways. They can just be subtle ways like cracks around the round openings, or it could be like a whole missing chunk, or like a whole, you know, shattered kind of, one of the round openings can be kind of shattered. So use lots of gold light to repair any damage. And you can lift out the energy blocks that are healthy and gentle to clear right now. Just lift all those blocks out and you can melt them away with gold light. Lift out the blocks, melt them away with gold. So the aim is not like perfection right now, because that is not really healthy to try to clear everything at once. But you know, there would be a level that's different for everybody. What's the level that is healthy and gentle for you to clear at this moment? So that's what you're aiming for, right? So just lift out that level, that many blocks, and melt them away with gold light. That the blocks, melt them away with gold light, or blow them up. We say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are messing with my chakras? And again, that's not a perfect forever kind of request. Just, you know, your angels will help incrementally. Angels, can you recycle these invasive beings? Angels, can you recycle these invasive beings? And lift out blocks again, lift out the blocks, melt them away with gold light. Right. Enough. Ooh, here's a fun one. Okay, so your V area, it's just this area right here. It's like where you're, I think these are your trapezius muscles. Or if you're, you know, in the chiropractic or fitness business, you call them traps, your traps, but your trapezius muscles. And they can get tense and knotted up. And this area here, like going diagonally out from there, can have a lot of stuff in it spiritually. So the more you unblock there, then it does help with tension here. But that's not the only reason to unblock here. I mean, it's good to have unblocked shoulders because that's one of the ways you bring in new positive change energy is directly down into your shoulders. One way is here too, directly down into your. But let's unblock this V area that kind of coming out from your trapezius muscles in all your auras. You can have actually like hard objects like spears and stuff just stuck into your astral body shoulders right there, you know, from like a past life or something. And that sucks. But it's easy to get rid of them. You know, just wrap them in gold light and yank them out. Your angels, here you go. Wrap them up in gold light. Them out, angels, here you go. So again, we're removing hard objects that are stuck in your V area. And they could be stuck in your physical body energy system or astral body energy system, really. So wrap gold light around them and just loosen them out. Give them to your angels, here. Wrap light around them, loosen them up, angels, here you go. And you want to, thing is, when you remove a hard object, it's going to start energy leaking even more than it was before. So then you could have invasive beings kind of rush in and block it up. So you can say, angels, can you hold this space for me so I can repair it well? You know, so lift out the hard objects. Say, angels, can you hold the space so I can repair it well? And then just lift out the hard objects, give them to your angels, and then repair. So that most likely, if you ask that, your angels will keep the invasive beings and invasive people from rushing in as soon as you remove the hard objects. So then you can have a better shot at repairing those gashes. Like, and we do have some cool meridians that are in that area. I can pull that up. I know I have it. Would it be here? Yeah. So I'm kind of in the way there, though. Make myself smaller. Hi. Okay, so the brown one there, I believe that's your small intestine meridian. And the brown one, it actually looks super cool. How cool does that look? I love that. I don't know why. That's just the brown meridian right there zigzagging up the back of your shoulders. So cool. So let's heal that. I'm pretty sure it's the small intestine meridian. Let me double check. Yeah. Okay. So it starts in the pinky right there. Do. So let's do the whole thing. Why not? So these meridians, they should be red and flowy, like red flowy tubes with red flowy rivers inside them. But it can get all crusty and weird with energy that's not yours. So you just use gold light. Use red earth energy to heal them. So so start in your pinky. The first point is always really important because it's like each meridian is a river and you don't want it dammed up right at the start of the river. So the pinky meridian, the pinky small intestine 1, that point right there. I'll let it go just a little bit so you can see there. So it's like small intestine 1, it's just the outer corner of that nail, your pinky nail. So you can imagine small intestine 1 like a chakra, just like this, you know, all the chakras are shaped this way. And so it's fit in the meridian like this, and then you don't want it blocked up here, right? Because it's the meridian that was right before it, the energy would then flow from that meridian into this one, right? But you can have a lot of blocks right here, making it harder for small intestine 1 to pull the energy through. So you want to unblock all around the chakra, but especially, you know, at the start of it. So small intestine 1, you can just imagine that and unblock, melt away. Again, all these acupuncture chakras, red is a really nice color for them. And the meridian, the whole meridian, but all the chakras within the meridian, red is a nice color. So, and you see small intestine 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, blah, blah right now. So you could just unblock a bunch of them. And you don't really have to, you know, your copy doesn't have to have all the contours. It can just be like a one tube, you know, and it represents the actual small intestine meridian that does have all those cool contours, very cool contours. But you could just unblock them, you know, this way, so you don't have to like have a real complex copy out in front of you. And just you can lift out the blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of in your small intestine meridian, lift them out. And healthy and gentle is always important to keep in mind and have that as your intention, but especially when you're healing body stuff. And these meridians, it's a good example of that because it's like each of these points does a lot of cool stuff for you mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever, all the above. But then each river affects the river before it and the river after that. And then they have all sorts of internal connections too. So as long as you do have your intention be that you're only going to unblock to the extent that's healthy and gentle, then you're fine. You unblock and repair all the chakras within your small intestine meridian. Think of it all like a river. That. So that was so what was that? That was so we unblocked, we healed and unblocked the small intestine meridian as by imagining it as a river, which we just did. So another one that is good for shoulder tension. Oh, we could do so many, but I mean, there are 2 others at least. I want to do those 2. No, I think I'll just do that one. That was fun though. I hope you liked it. Another one you could do on your own if you want is the Sanjiao meridian, which I believe is that that pretty turquoise line that's going, that you see it going up the top of the shoulder. Sanjiao meridian. And then the other one is gallbladder meridian, which is way cool. It zigzags a lot on the side of the head, and then it goes through the neck and goes down the side of the body. So those 2 other ones you could do on your own if you want. That would potentially help loosen up shoulder tension as well. And help you in 1.5 zillion different ways. But we won't do that. But I do have in the info section of this live stream is the 12 meridian playlist, which shows a video for each of the meridians. I didn't make the videos, but they're cool. I made the playlist, grouping them together in the order of flow. But anyway, so you could look up Sanjiao and also gallbladder videos and heal them yourself if you want. I guess what we could do, that could be kind of fun. We could do small intestine, Sanjiao, and gallbladder meridians as one river. It's kind of funny. But that way we save time. And we can still help them a little bit. Ooh, so much unblocking. Blocking. Okay, so let's do that. We'll unblock all those three at once. So the small intestine one, that's the brown zigzaggy one. The Sanjiao meridian one, that's the pretty turquoise one on the top of the shoulder that ends up by the eye. And then the gallbladder one starts by the eye and zigzags around the side of the head and down the body. So let's just imagine one river that represents all of your small intestine, Sanjiao, and gallbladder meridians, and then just heal that river. So use gold light. You can use red earth energy. And you can lift out the blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of the river and melt them away. Lift out the blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of. Lift them out, melt them away. Lift out those blocks, melt them away. You can, let's see. There could be some invasive beings that are either in the river right now or standing off to the side being like, wow, let's wait until she's done. You can say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are messing with these meridians? And you can look in this river that represents these three meridians and just look for clogs and melt them away with gold light. You can look, maybe there's a person in your life that is kind of like a dark cloud above the river. So their energy, so just use lots of gold light to clear away the dark cloud of somebody's energy. You can have somebody that their intention is very kind and caring, but they're in your space and they're in these meridians, and therefore the effect is not positive at all if they're in your space like that. So just look at your river, and if it's not, you can say, okay, well, my energy, I want to see it in this river as red and flowing. So whatever's not red and flowing, like just let that be really obvious to you. So maybe there's like chalky white, maybe there's black or silver or something, or yellow, whatever. So anything that's not you, just see it as the other colors, not red, and then just lift all that out, and you can melt it away with gold light. Lift out anything that's not you in the river and melt it away with gold. You might have some baggage in the river from this life or past lives. You can just melt that away. It could look like a mud at the bottom of the river. So just use gold light and melt that mud, which is baggage in the river. Again, you want to perceive and clear to the extent that's healthy and gentle right now. All right, cool. So you can check out that V area again, you know, from your trapezius muscles right here outward, diagonally outward into your auras, and see, compare it to how it was before. And if you notice any hard objects, just surround them in gold light, loosen them up, give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. And then repair the gashes with gold light. And you can give yourself a little mini shoulder rub if you want. Sometimes, you know, you haven't gotten rid of all the knots, but you've made them smaller, but now you feel them more because you're there more. So, but you can notice if there's any change. All right. So let's see what else. We have done grounding or repair, creative ring repair, and we did our shoulder extravaganza. The small intestine as its own river, and then small intestine, gallbladder, and Sanjiao meridians as one river. Yay. So let's see. Let's do our good karma windows now. So good karma windows are back here. They're kind of like the back door into your astral body in a way. But in a good way too. You can bring in your positive change energy through them. But there's one in each aura layer back here in your astral body aura. They're triple frame windows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so triple frame, what is that? It's 3 concentric squares, I think is technically how you would say it, but looks like that, roughly. And you have 7 of them, and each one is the layer, the color of your energy in that layer. So red is an ideal color for your first chakra at the base of your spine, so that your first layer is right up against your head right there. So that one could be red, orange, yellow, light green, deep, red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, deep blue, purple. But you don't have to worry about the color really. I mean, if you can see color, that's kind of cool, because then you're like, oh, wait, that's not supposed to be white. And then, you know, maybe there's some invasive energy right there. So just use lots of gold light, and you want to repair these windows so they're not busted or cracked. You can unblock. Use lots of gold light, melt the blocks. You can lift out the blocks and just melt them away above. Melt them away. Light. You could have invasive beings that are already kind of worked in through your creative, through your good karma windows, and they're rooted, you know, in your upper chakras or your base of skull, little chakras there. So it's like pulling a weed in a garden. You want to get the stem and the leaves, but you also want to get the roots of the weed. So say if invasive being or person is work their way in through the windows, then they would be rooted in one of these chakras here. So you just use gold light and surround the roots and surround the plant, and just go whoop, and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Whoop, angels, here you go. Sound effects optional, of course. But, you know, use gold light, grip the root, grip the, you know, the whole thing, the whole invasive being. Angels, here you go. Angels. You can make a red grounding just for your base of skull area if you want. That's kind of soothing. So from all the way down from the core of the earth, all the way up to your base of skull area, nice red grounding. Just to help you release extra. All the way down to the core of the earth. You can have hard plates of energy in your aura is just pressed up against your base of skull area. So you could comb through that area and drag out the plates of energy and melt them away. So comb through the back of your head, back of your neck, and outward, and just gather up in your hands hard plates of energy and energy blocks, and just say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings plugged into this junk? And I just keep using gold light, melt cords from people into this stuff. In gold light until it'll. So again, use your fingers and gold light and comb through your head and your neck outward towards the back. Gather up any hard plates of energy, any energy blocks. Say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? And then just keep using gold light, melt people out, melt their cords out, melt your own resistance out. They just melt away. And give yourself a little physical massage of your neck and your back of your head. And it's possible to kind of geek out and have fun with good karma windows, like remove just real subtle things pressed up against the windows, like little energy blocks. So the outermost one is probably the most important for boundaries. Your 7th layer good karma window. So you can do that one a little extra for fun. And just melt away if there's any energy blocks pressed up against it. A lot of times those will be black, white, or silver. So just use lots of gold light, and you can bring up red earth. You could bring up purple earth energy for that one, for your 7th layer good karma window, or your 7th good karma window. Lift out the blocks, melt them away. You just want to intuitively check each one, like, okay, I mean, in the simplest terms, it's like you want your good stuff to come through and not any invasive stuff, not any stuff that's not you to come through these good karma windows. I mean, there could be good karma energy from the universe that comes through, or like a really small, gentle, uplifting amount of like energy from the moon and the stars that can come through. But you know, you could maybe summarize it: good shit and bad shit. Good stuff, bad shit. Good stuff, bad stuff. I mean, that's judgy, which could knock you out of your 6th chakra, which you don't want. So you could just say me, not me, maybe. But, you know, is there only me coming in through this 7th good karma window? About 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st good karma window. And again, so the first one would be right up here. So when they're repaired, they're nice. They're like, they just keep it safe. The basic skull points, we'll just do a teeny bit extra with those. So it would be GV is in the middle, that governing vessel one, and then UB is the yellow one. And then gallbladder is that, so like those two horizontal lines, one at the level of the top of the ear, one at the level of the bottom of the ear. That's what I'm talking about for base of skull points. So then you have the gallbladder meridian. Is that sort of the blue-green one there. Those are the meridians that we're working right there. Governing vessel, and then urinary bladder, and then gallbladder. Not that you need to know what they're called. You can just think of each one as that it's supposed to be a red flowy tube with your red flowy life force and your body's red flowy life force. And so just keep using gold light and red earth energy until that's the case. And you can comb through all these base of skull points. You can just surround them in gold light. So you could put like one hand right just outside the base of skull points and one hand inside your skull, so you're surrounding them. Gold light. And you could say too, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with my base of skull points or that were just recently messing with my base of skull points, can you please recycle them? Take some deep breaths. Take a minute. Be more present in your body, your feet, your hips, your spine, your shoulders, your head, hands. We already repaired all the auras, but you can double check those specific, your physical body aura, your astral body aura in that area, but also those specific auras of those meridians I mentioned. So each one of those meridians, governing vessel, urinary bladder, and gallbladder, they each have their own gold flowy force field, a Wei Qi aura. So there's the gallbladder meridian Wei Qi aura, there's the urinary bladder meridian Wei Qi aura, and then the governing vessel meridian Wei Qi aura. So check them back there too and see if they're not like, you don't want to be big valleys, gaps there. You want just big bouncy flowy force field, right? That's just only your energy there. Just double check, because sometimes you have, there's be like a giant rip right there, and so then it's too vulnerable to external energy. So just lots of gold light and repair basically those 5 auras, especially back there. You don't want any, you want all 17 to be whole, but especially astral, physical, and then those 3 meridian ones. Those 5 auras, especially back there. You'd have big chunks of blocked energy back there, so just melting that. Any chunks of energy is going to weaken your aura. You want it just to be your flowy energy. No chunks. All right. Great job. Great job. Woo! Let's do some glitter to celebrate. Woo, you're amazing. Yay. All right. So that ends the improvisational 5 essentials section. Okay, I was just taking notes so that later that will show up in the outline of the healing. So, oh yeah. Okay, so usually, I do this giant healing, and then I do a Q&A afterwards, and then I spend the rest of the day trying to rest, but also doing a lot of work, putting in timestamps, and writing the outline and sending out the survey. So I will not do most of that today. I will try to just chill out and take care of myself for the rest of the day. So the downside of that is then if you are one that likes to, early the next day, use all the timestamps, you will only probably have a couple timestamps to use at that time. And then tomorrow during the day, I'll get around to doing all the rest of the timestamps and the healing outline and the survey. So I don't know how much of that I will do today. I'm going to try not to do most of it today as an experiment. Usually, sometimes I say that and then I just end up doing it all like a compulsive thing, but I'm going to really try to force myself to take care of myself today. So just a heads up, there will be sort of a bare bones timestamps late tonight, but not all of them. And then the rest will show up tomorrow during the day at some point. I'm finished. And I will email probably twice then. I'll email tonight to the people that purchased the healing. I'll email people tonight, letting them know that and letting them know what I've done so far. And then tomorrow I'll email again when all the timestamps are done and the outline's done. And if the survey hasn't been done already, and it's done then I'll email people so they know. So that's that. Trying to make progress with my post-healing self-care. Baby steps. Speaking of baby steps, so what we will do next is what I've already described as the biggest thing we're doing today is we're going to clear energy blocks, which I'm calling immersion blocks. And they can be any type of baggage that you have, even dumped energy from other people. But it's stuff that you get kind of lost in it, and then it gets you stuck because it's like you don't have that perspective and that distance from it. And so then you just aren't able to self-assess and do baby steps and, make gradual progress. You just kind of get all stuck because you're thinking in more of like an all or nothing. You're either not thinking anymore or you're thinking of like, oh my God, I have to do the whole thing. And it's just not approachable. So we're going to clear these immersion blocks so that you can have a healthy distance from your pain and your baggage, but stay present so that then you can kind of strategize better. So, so the ultimate, result of that would be then you're more able to do baby stuff. But sometimes you can just clear the immersion blocks and then you get the distance from your pain and you just want to rest for a little bit too, which, is still progress. It's still better than like, I'm so stuck in all my pain. So anyway, so let's do it. Let's clear immersion blocks so that you can get a healthy sense of perspective and distance from all your baggage and figure out your baby steps and maybe do one or two. Let's do it. So there are a ton of ways to think of this. I think what I'm going to do is sort of a new twist. So we'll imagine a baby step garden. So the baby step garden is your ability to, it's your energy, your headspace to kind of, you know, not be stuck in all your shit, to be able to be present, but just strategize and think about baby steps and, be rational and not be stuck in all the drama, right? So that's your baby step garden. And so there might be immersion blocks in your baby step garden, kind of messing all that up. So we're going to clean out those immersion blocks so that your baby step garden is friendly and usable for you. How about that? Isn't that cute? So, okay. So imagine your baby step garden, your ability to, have some healthy mental distance from your pain and be able to strategize and have baby steps and everything. And just look at your baby step garden, how it is now, and are there any immersion blocks or other people's energy, mucking up your baby step garden. And just use lots of gold light and melt away anything that you don't like, anything that's not yours in your baby step garden. It could even be some people that are trying to be helpful, but because they're in your head and in your baby step garden, it's like they're just blocking you up. But wash everybody out of your baby step garden. This is your headspace, your heart space for, encouraging yourself and having your baby steps and thinking of your baby steps, doing some of your baby steps. So you can lift out a healthy and gentle amount of baggage to clear out of your baby step garden. Lift out the baggage and melt it away with lots of gold light. Lift out the baggage from your baby step garden and melt it away with lots of gold light. Lift out the baggage from your baby step garden and melt it away. Lift out the baggage from your baby step garden and melt it away. So I already said that you could have helpful people, blocking up your baby step garden, and that it's good to get them out. But you can also have people that are kind of bossy or scolding or judgy, or shaming in your baby step garden, and it might be unnerving to you, so much so that you actually leave them there, which is not at all a good thing to do. But it might be that, like that could kind of be your Achilles heel in a way. People that judge you, people that, try to shame you or, boss you around. So just look for bossy people if there are any in your baby step garden, or scolding people or shaming people or angry people. And they could be from past lives, so you don't have to worry about who it is. And just, use so much gold light that you just melt them out of your baby step garden. If you have a special trouble getting somebody out of your baby step garden that's like that, the angels, can you help me remove this person? And you can look at you can make like a lot of gold suns above your baby step garden to shine down on your baby step garden. And maybe you have some like hazy weirdness in between the gold suns and your garden. You could just use lots of gold light to melt it away. It could be somebody's energy. It could be people's energy. It could be invasive beings. If it's invasive beings, just say, angels, can you recycle these beings? You want the gold light to be able to shine down on your baby step garden. Again, what is your baby step garden? It's your ability to not be immersed in your pain, not be drowning in your own pain, to just have a mental, emotional, healthy distance from your pain, that you can kind of see where you're stuck, but not have a brain freeze about it. You want to be able to, not be mentally smushed by it or emotionally smushed by it. right? You want to be able to think of, okay, well, there's this project. It means a lot to me. What are the baby steps that would help me to get some positive momentum? What's so simple that I could do that right now? And if you're thinking of something and it's not simple enough, then that's not baby step enough. So just keep getting it smaller and smaller until there's a baby step that you think you can do. And you can say too, angels, can you help me? Can you heal my, baby step garden with me? Can you help me to have a healthy separation from my baggage? All right. And now we can keep doing the baby step garden, but we can have it be about different issues. So maybe you have a favorite issue, a favorite project. So I'll say favorite for favorite project. Okay. And you can imagine a baby step garden just for that project, right? And it's your ability to have distance from your baggage and distance from any sort of procrastination issues or whatever, just enough so that you can conceptualize the project and think about, what are the baby steps that are doable? Oh, that's not doable enough. Let me find different baby steps. So it's sort of your brainstorming and heart motivation space for that project, right? So just imagine your baby step garden for that project. And if you don't know what project is most important to you, just say, okay, well, this is the baby step garden for my most important project. That's fine. You don't have to know what it is. Right? And just use lots of cold light, melt away whatever's not you in your baby step garden for your favorite project. And lift out the junk that's not you, melt it away. Lift out the junk that's not you, melt it away. Lift out the junk, melt it away. Okay. And so that was for your favorite project, whatever it is. So let's do just 3 more favorite step gardens. One for food. So, because the theme is food, fitness, face, right? So food and body image. We could food, fitness, face. Yeah, food and beverages, we'll say. Food and beverages. So your baby step garden for food and beverages. So it just means like if you want to make changes in your nutrition, or you just want to have greater intuition about what your body needs at a given moment as far as food and beverages, that kind of thing. So any progress, positive change you want to make in regarding your nutrition and your food and your beverages, right? So just imagine your baby step garden for that, and just wash everybody out that's not you. Lift out the baggage, melt it away. Lift out the baggage, melt it away. You say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way, can you recycle them? If there are any people, any supportive people, or any scolding people, or scary people, whoever, just melt all them away. So this is a baby step garden for any food and beverage progress. So say that you have an issue with comfort eating, or say you just have an issue with drinking enough water every day. Just look at your baby step garden, your ability to brainstorm and motivate yourself with these changes, and just see if there's something amiss with your baby step garden, and just heal it and clear it so that you can make your baby step changes. All right. So then food, fitness. So fitness. How about that? A baby step garden for your fitness. So what projects or goals do you have with your fitness, your physical fitness? And this is your baby step garden. So your ability to have a healthy distance from your pain and your baggage involved in physical fitness, and your ability to sort of strategize and motivate yourself and find doable baby steps. Right? So that's what this garden represents. And you want to just wash everybody out that's not you and melt away the baggage that you notice that's healthy and gentle to get rid of from this garden. Lift out the baggage, melt it away, lift out the baggage, melt it away, lift out the people, melt them, lift out the people, melt away their energy. The angels, can you help me have my baby steps progress with my fitness? All right. And then face and body image. Okay. So you can imagine a garden that represents your ability to have a healthy level of separation from your baggage around your body image and around your face, how people perceive your body and your face, how you perceive your body and your face. So you want to be aware of the baggage, but not so immersed in it that you're paralyzed, right? You want to just be aware and figure out baby steps so you can have goals and make progress with your with body image and face. It could be making progress, could be just a change in your perception, or there could be actions involved in that, like maybe like I got recently an eye mask that was heated. That's kind of interesting. It's like cordless. And so it's like warm and it doesn't like get cold like a microwavable one gets cold pretty fast. It like auto turns off after 15 minutes. And so it's like this warm thing for your eyes. It's kind of nice. So there could be some kind of self-care for your face or your body that maybe you've been meaning to do that would help you, but it just, hasn't happened. Or some change in your wardrobe. Maybe you've wanted to give away old clothes or change something, the way you wear your hair or your clothes, whatever. So baby step garden, your ability to imagine baby steps, pick baby steps, make progress with your baby steps, having to do with your face, your body image, your own perception, how you present yourself to the world, whatever, right? So your baby step garden for body image and face, and just clean it out so that it's just the way you like, so that you're comfortable in your baby step garden for your body image and your face. Doesn't mean that you're perfect. Doesn't mean, you've finished all your involvement. This baby step garden allows you to, have enough distance from the baggage so you're not like deer in the headlights stuck in it. You can imagine your baby steps. You can pick baby steps that are small enough. So lift out the baggage, melt it away. Lift out the baggage, melt it away. You say, angels, can you please heal my baby step garden for body image and face? And you can say, angels, if there's any invasive beings messing with my baby step garden for body image and face, can you please recycle them? And you can have happy, uplifting people that are trying to encourage you in this topic of body image and face, but they're just doing it in an invasive way, accidentally, maybe, or they just don't understand boundaries. Or you can have people that are, malevolent in intention, as well in your baby step garden for body image. So just clean them all out. The nice ones and the not nice ones, they're still in the way. So just use gold light and melt everybody out. You're the boss of your own baby step garden, right? So just remind yourself of that and clean everybody out. This is not a public meeting area. So you could have people, coworkers, clients, relatives, partners, just clear everybody out of your body image and face baby step garden. All right, good job. Woohoo! So let's celebrate with some butterflies. Yay. Good job. Mm. So I'm going to look for a minute and I'll be quiet while I look. I'm just going to look at what's best for us to do next. All right. So FFF right there stands for right at the end there stands for food, fitness, and face, which is the theme for this month that we're working. So food intake, nutrition, food choices, food decisions, fitness, physical fitness, and face, including body image, your own perception of your body, as well as how you present your body and your face to others. So healing walled off parts of you is something we've done before, and it's always really cool to do. Basically, the idea is that you're not just one thing, you know, you're a big eternal soul, and only part of you you're conscious of. And there are there's the subconscious, and there's parts of you that they're part of your subconscious, but it's like an extra repressed part of your subconscious, maybe. And that is the part of you that can be the most different from your conscious intention. So say you try to be a gentle person, a gentle, kind, and respectful person, empathetic, yada, yada. You could have a walled off part of you that is absolutely livid and furious and throwing energy and screaming. And you are so turned off by this level of repressed anger that you have, that you've walled off that part of you. And the problem with that is that part of you is still a part of you, and that part of you really is screaming at, say your neighbor or somebody, or former friend or something, and getting you into trouble by throwing energy and or telepathically blasting somebody. So it's good. It's really a good safety thing to find these walled off parts of you and heal them so that you feel better, but also then you're not such a shit starter accidentally with other people. So that's basically why we've worked it in the past. But it can be too, not just only that these parts of you can be shit starter parts of you with other people, but they can be part of what's holding up your progress in life relating to food or fitness or body image or in many other ways as well. But so let's heal these parts of you that are walled off. And we'll be careful with it. We'll just leave the walls up first and heal these parts of you so that the parts of you you can imagine like little mini yous behind a wall of your own repression and denial or whatever. And then, heal these parts of you with gold light. And once they're fully healed, the energy dissolves, so you get it back. And you don't feel furious. You maybe feel a little mad, maybe, but in a gentle way. Because that part of you got all healed and you got that part back. And then you can melt the wall, right? And we can ask the angels for help so that, you're not doing too much at once, yada, yada. Okay? So that's the idea. Let's do it. Okay. So you can just imagine a whole bunch of walls and a whole bunch of parts of you that you've walled off, either in this life or a past life, because this walling off stuff is so effective that you could have walled off this part of you like 5 lifetimes ago. And, because you were so good at, with the denial repression wall, it's still there, right? So just imagine any parts of you that are healthy and gentle to heal and get back right now, but they're still walled off currently. And just so you imagine all the walls, imagine all the parts of you behind the walls of denial and repression where you're like, ma, that's not me. Right? And then just say, angels, can you double check all this and make sure it's healthy and gentle for me to work all these parts of me right now? Because that way, if it's not, your angels will remove some of it. So for later, right? So deep breath while your angels double check. So, okay, your angels work fast, so they're done. So just imagine all those walls and leave the walls up first and just use lots of gold light and heal these parts of you, the walled off parts of you. And some of them could be just frozen in whatever emotion or lack of emotion. Some of them could be screaming. Some of them could be just grumpy, whatever. Don't expect charming socializing with these parts of you. Just lots of gold light. You can try to be nurturing and comforting. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's just a healing. But just heal these parts of you with cold light. You can do like a tricolor earth energy soak to bring up first red earth energy, soak these parts of you in red earth energy, then bring that down, bring up orange earth energy straight from the core of the earth, soak these parts of you in orange earth energy. Bring that down, bring up yellow earth energy straight from the core of the earth, soak these parts of you in yellow earth energy. And you can leave that up or bring it back down again and just lots of gold light. Like, it's okay, it's all right. So again, these are parts of you that, relate to food, fitness, and body image. That if you heal these parts of you, it'll help you make progress with food, fitness, and body image. And, maybe a couple other things. So just notice, are there any parts of you that are still there? If so, say, angels, can you help me heal these parts of me? And then probably all the parts of you are not there anymore. But if you have one or two, just say, angels, can you heal these parts of me? And just hand them to your angels. And then go ahead and just melt away all the walls. Because those parts of you are healed now. You have your energy back, so you don't need this old denial wall. And a couple deep breaths. You can give yourself a hug. Tell yourself, good job, good job. And just a reminder, not all denial is bad. Not all avoidance is bad. Sometimes things are a bit too much to handle at current time. That's why we're always careful when we work this kind of thing to have the angels double check so that you're only, getting back and getting rid of the denial that is just, left over. And it's just like you got stuck in denial. It wasn't really like you still need to be in. All right, so good job, good job, good job. I'm going to look again, see what we should do next. Okay, so one aspect of face that I have been talking about so far today has been body image. And I said, well, face is a subset of body image. So how you perceive your face, how you feel when you look at it, and also just the energy that you allow people to see about you through your face. But it's not just body image, it relates to identity, your identity as a person. And you've had a lot of lifetimes. You're an eternal soul. You've had a lot of lifetimes. And so it's most likely that it's pretty much probably guaranteed that you've had lifetimes where you represented an organization or you represented an authority figure, so you were like, the assistant to somebody, or you were, say part of an army of a certain, nation or ruler, right? And so you may have given some of your identity energy to whatever government it was, or whatever government official it was, or religious figure that you represented. And so there can be energy of yours, identity energy, face energy of yours, that is still in the space of whatever that organization from 1,000 years ago, or or that person. or even, you know, like a religious organization. You know, they could have some of your face energy, some of your identity energy. And also you can have them in your face, you know, your energy of your own identity or your energy of your own face. It could have been just a really kind of like a family, a genetic family that didn't have a lot of boundaries. You know, some families are like that and they're very interwoven. And so the same thing could have happened in that situation. And maybe you were in a family like that in this life or in a past life. And so the members of that family have some of your identity energy and vice versa because there was so much interweaving and kind of like mushing, right? So long story short, yeah, you can take back your energy, and you can wash people out of your own identity and face and self-image. Hope that makes sense. So let's do it. Right. So first calling back. So for calling back, or taking back, either way, but calling back maybe is more literal to what we're doing because we're not like you're not going to some person and like yanking your energy back. You know, it's much less confrontational than that. You just make a gold 3D object and use it like a magnet and use the magnet to call back your energy. And you can say, you know, you're concerned about, you know, backlash. You can say, angels, help me do this as safely as possible. Right. And then just have your gold 3D object, whether it's a sphere or a, you know, like a cartoon U-shaped magnet or a cube or a pyramid, whatever you like, and just use it like a magnet and call back your, especially your self-image energy, your identity energy, your unique life force. That you may have either given away to an organization or it was just sort of borrowed from you. So just call back all your energy, your self-image energy, your identity energy, your face energy, from this life or past lives, whoever has it. And just say, angels, can you help me clean off all this energy? And give it to yourself. We'll do that one more time. So make a gold 3D object, magnet, and use it to call back your unique life force. That is your identity energy, your self-image energy, your face energy. Call it all back from wherever you left it. Maybe it's in the future even, but you know, it could be in organizations, people, and call it all back into your magnet and then say, angels, can you help me clean all this off? So it's just me. And then give it back. All right, good job. So then cleaning out is just, you know, in case their energy is in you from those situations where you know, you were sort of melded with a group identity. So you can just imagine a mini version of yourself and just, you know, use like gold soap and water and just give yourself a shampoo and you know, scrub out any identity that doesn't work for you anymore. I mean, it could be that you really like, you know, say you're Irish and you really like the Irish identity, so you keep some of that, you know, or whatever, you know, maybe you're a, I don't know, vegetarian and that really excites you. So you want to keep some energy from, you know, some vegetarian organization in your space, maybe. But not me. I eat a lot of meat for the record, in case someone's assuming I am a vegetarian. I'm not. But anyway, go ahead and just wash out, you know, use gold soap and water and just wash out anybody else's identity energy, self-image energy, a body image, face energy that it doesn't work for you, you know, anything that you don't want in your space. So just lots of gold soap and water, wash out anything that's not working for you, having to do with your face, your self-image, your identity. Gold light, wash it all out. Wash through your grounding, gold soap and water through your grounding, soap it up. Gold, gold, gold. Rinse it out with gold water. And you can say, angels, can you help me do this? Okay, good job. And we could do flowers for nourishing. Right? So energy healing flowers to nourish your sense of your body image, your self, your identity, your self-image, your face. So just make energy healing flowers out of universal healing energy. It could be gold light, rainbow colored, both, and just, tune it to whatever healing energy would be best for you and your self-image and your positive body images and your body, your face energy and all that good stuff, right? And say, angels, can you check my flowers? And give them to yourself. Make more energy healing flowers for yourself, as many as you need out of universal healing energy. Tune them so they're just right to help nourish you and your own self-image, your body image, your identity, and your face. Angels, can you check my flowers? And give them to you. All right, great job. Woohoo! Good job. Yay. Confetti and butterflies. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Okay, so let's heal mini yous that need maybe a little extra healing to help you take action, consistent action with your positive change in general. Any way you want to change positively, but also specifically with positive change regarding food, nutrition, beverages, etc. Food, fitness, and face. So physical fitness and also face, self-image, body image, self-perception, and how you present yourself to others. So what are the different parts of you that are kind of like not helping with that positive change that you're trying to make or that you would like to make in your food, fitness, and face? So imagine the mini yous that are really not helping and maybe keep talking you out of positive change. Okay. And there's no shame in having parts of you like that at all. It's natural. But these parts of you probably need a little extra healing, right? So go ahead, lots of gold light. Heal these mini yous that need extra healing so that you can have your positive change in food, fitness, and face, etc. So heal these mini yous and don't expect, sparkling conversation with these mini yous. Some of these parts of you can be, silent or grumpy or scared or tired or whatever, frustrated. And that's understandable. You can be empathetic, but just feel these parts of you. You can do a tricolor earth energy soak with these parts of you: red earth energy, orange earth energy, yellow earth energy, more gold light. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with these parts of me, can you please recycle them? And make sure you uncord, because there can be these parts of you can be corded by people. So sometimes if somebody's in your space, it makes you extra, lethargic or unmotivated. So just wash out, melt the cords between you and these mini parts of you. And these parts you should be starting to, fully heal, and then you just get your energy back. And so it's not a separate part of you anymore. But if you do have any leftover parts, you can say, angels, can you help me heal these parts of me? And just give these parts of you an extra healing. If there's any part of you left over that still needs healing, that still stands in the way of your positive change. And then you can just wrap these parts of you up lovingly in gold light and hand them to your angels and say, angels, can you help me with these parts? All right. Good job. Good job. So let's wrap up. We'll just do a little comb through. Maybe one or two things I'll stick in at the end. So just imagine all of you out in front of you, your 17 auras, your physical body, your astral body are inside there. And then you have 2 groundings going all the way down to the core of the earth. And hopefully your groundings are very wide as all your auras. If not, you can go ahead and make them wide. Behind you, wide in front of you, wide to either side, and use gold light and unblock your groundings all the way down to the core of the earth. And you might have people hanging out in the back of your aura back here. That's not supposed to be a public meeting area back there. So just wash everybody out. The back of your aura, gold light. Unblock above your head, above your shoulders too. That expression, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You don't want to do that, right? So just melt any blocks that's above your shoulders and your auras. Check out that V area that we healed during the improvisational 5 essentials part towards the start. You might have hard objects there, so just melt those away in this area right here. Astral body or your physical body. Melt all away. Clear the gashes. Heart chakra, 4th chakra. Do that a little extra. 4th chakras, because you have 2. You have one in your physical body chest and one in your astral body chest. 4th chakra is like the feel-good chakra, helps you to feel motivated, upbeat, positive, helps you to have self-love, self-acceptance, self-care. Very important. So it's a chakra like all the others, so open cylinder shape, round opening in the front, round opening in the back. Go ahead and melt away blocks. If this is too blocked and or you have too much energy of yours like in it, because you want to view from here, 6th or 7th, 6th and 7th. You want to be in all your chakras ideally, but then extra energy from here and here. Like this is like your command center, so that then you're non-judgmental, you have as clear sight as possible. If instead you're viewing down from here, then it's much more likely that you do get immersed in your pain and you're just like, woe is me. So take the elevator up, beep, beep, view from here. Okay, view from here, right? But be in all the chakras. So unblock your 4th enough so that it does its job to generate positive glass half full perspective. View. 4th layers. 4th chakra generates your 4th physical 4th chakra generates your 4th layer of your physical body aura, and your astral body 4th chakra generates the 4th layer of your astral body aura. You can unblock your 4th layers above, below your right. So as we wrap up, you can just say, angels, can you help me wrap up this healing? Angels, can you help me make progress with food, fitness, and face/body image? Full deep breaths. All right, you're amazing. Woo, woo, woo. That's a healing. Yay. Okay, so the healing part of the live stream is finished. So then we will, I'll take a quick break. I'll turn off the camera and we can take a bathroom break. And then I'll turn the camera back on and I'll do a little quick stretching. You could do some stretching if you want to. It's not like an instructional stretching thing. I just keep the camera on in case it inspires you to do some stretching too. But that's just for a minute. And then I'll sit back down here and we'll do a little chat. If you have comments about how the healing was for you, follow-up questions about the themes of food, fitness, and face, or comments about something I said in this live stream, you could text chat that. You did want me to look at something, I guess try to keep it simple. If you're a newbie, that's fine. Just put your, if I can't tell your first and last name from the YouTube ID, like really newbie, then just, you can say, hey, can you look at my grounding? Or, hey, do you notice anything about my energy? Whatever you want to say. But I need to know your first and last, at least initials, if you don't have your name obvious from the YouTube ID. If you know my work, you're not newbie, then try to be more empowered about it. And you could state your issue, but then state your own read on it first, your own self-assessment on what you feel the issue is and what you feel you should do about it. And then I'll just comment on, I'll give you feedback on your self-assessment. Okay, so that's later, but let's do a bathroom break first. First things first. So let me get rid of the camera. You can watch the beach if you want. And I'll be back soon. Hey, I'm back. So, if you want to do some stretching, you don't have to, of course, and you definitely don't have to copy me. But I'm gonna do stretching for a minute. You could too if you want. Hello, hello. Hope you had a good break. Okie doke. I'm going to take a look at the chat comments I haven't read yet. Oh, if you haven't yet given the live stream and or the video later a thumbs up, feel free to do that if you wish. It does help. So you're free not to do it as well, of course. But if it do it, it helps more people to see the video, theoretically. Would be nice. Let's see. It says, thank you, Janet. I have to dip out early due to work obligations. I'm still having issues with debt and some compulsive spending. Looks to be a discipline issue and my mom leaving me piles of baggage. Did I read that right? Thank you for the healing. Compulsive spending. That's an interesting one, isn't it? From when I look at you as you're doing the compulsive spending, it seems like it starts out as a desire to have more fun and be spontaneous and give to yourself and kind of enjoy your life. So it really starts out nice. But I think then it hits some baggage, half of which is your mom's energy in your space. You're correct on that. The other half is not your sister, although she's a common suspect that we double check if it's her or not all the time. But I would say it's past life baggage, like guilt around being good to yourself and enjoying your life. So I think what your angels are suggesting as homework is not so much a clearing, but a brainstorming about what are budget-friendly ways for you to pamper yourself and be spontaneous? I mean, I know that sounds funny to plan your spontaneity, but I think it's like, I don't think it's a terrible thing, to like think up, you know, ways in which are okay, budget-friendly ways to pamper yourself, be spontaneous, be, lighthearted and enjoy the moment and enjoy life, because I think there are a lot of very financially friendly ways to do that. Some free, some just not that expensive. And I think that you think about what you're really trying to get out of it, which is more of this like enjoy the moment kind of a thing. It could be an interesting journaling sort of thing, to just brainstorm. And then, of course, you could clear baggage in the way of you enjoying life and, giving to yourself and pampering yourself and being spontaneous and being sort of lighthearted, but it seems like if you thought it out, like, okay, but what things are budget friendly? Because it seems like your go-to is like grandiose things price wise. And then sometimes, it hits the baggage and you buy things that you don't even need at all and that, are sort of like, why did I get that? But I think if you, just work that energy of pampering yourself more, the budget friendly, fun kind of thing. Yeah, hope that helps. Someone says, hello, Janet and everyone from 91 degrees and sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, hello to you, 91 degrees and sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks for the weather report and the emojis. Very pretty. So it says, thanks, Janet. I was cranky after work today, but feeling lighthearted now. Oh, that's nice. Good to know. A few days ago, I did empowerment flowers and filling empty void flowers a few times. That's nice. Yeah. I think the empowerment flowers worked really well. I got a gym membership and did some admin stuff I was avoiding. Oh, administrative tasks. Yeah, you were avoiding. Yeah, I remember you said that on your survey. That was cool. I think, though, the growth triggered a lot of whacking from others, like dear old mom, ex-coworkers, ex-spouse. Ex-spouse? You never mention him. You should let me know his real life name sometime if you want, like on a survey or an email or something. I don't even think I've heard of your ex-spouse. That's fascinating. He'd be good to keep on the suspect list to check. Is it him? That's interesting. So I guess there's not really a question there. You're just saying, I guess it's kind of a self-assessment. So the administrative work and the getting the gym membership stuff. So you've had a spurt of getting stuff done and non-avoidance, accomplishing things, moving forward. Did that growth trigger whacking from others like your mother? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I guess there's really nothing much to do about it, because it's like, when you do these good things, you're proud of yourself, and so that makes you stronger. So, yes, people whack a little bit when you are improving your life. Some people whack, but, you know, I guess you could do, you know, conflict resolution flowers with those people if you want, to just help them or just remind them about karma. Be like, hello, Remember that discussion we had about karma? So whichever you're in the mood for, just remind them about karma so they stop whacking you, or make angel-assisted conflict resolution flowers for them and give them to your angels and ask your angels only to deliver them if they will help the situation. Your spouse did well with the healing. His favorite part was during the 5 essentials improvisation, when we did that V unblocking, and then the small intestine meridian river, and then the 3 meridians as one river. The 3 meridians that go through the shoulder area, small intestine, gallbladder, and Sanjiao meridian river. Well, we did it as one river, unblocked and healed those meridians. But he's moving forward right now. His angels like the healing. They like how he did. Oh, cool. Someone says, thank you so much. I am feeling okay, but just a little sadness that has been coming and going that I've been enjoying. That's puzzling. Those must be invasive beings because the misery loves company comes to mind. That phrase also reminds me of my mom, though, so it could be her and her invasive beings. I think I need to clear out my creative rings to feel better. Okay, so you feel good, but the issue is you have a little sadness that's coming and going, and you're reading what it could be. Sadness coming and going is kind of interesting. What it looks like is you're releasing grief and sadness, and like you're letting go of it seems like specifically, that one friend that you have, that really weird situation that it totally holds you back. It seems like you're mourning the loss. It's like you're just like, you're leaving like the fantasy world with that person. You're like, okay, I'm not gonna, pretend that we have a different relationship than we do. I'm done with that. And so you're releasing grief and sadness, and then you don't really feel it when it's releasing. You only feel it when your grounding blocks up, which is true with grief. You can release a ton of grief and not really feel so bad at all, but then your grounding blocks up and it like traffic jams upward, and all of a sudden you feel the grief or the sadness. So I think that's what it is, actually. You're just, as part of your moving forward, you're letting go of like weird hypothetical fantasy things that take up your mind, and so that letting go is like a sort of a little bit of a release of sadness, and yeah. So bottom line, just keep on blocking your grounding. Is it related at all to your mom? In a way, but not that she's. Yeah, it is in the way. In a way, I think that's one of the relationships that you're mourning. You're releasing your sadness about that your relationship with her is not what you would like it to be, and that she's basically not the kind of mom that you would have wanted. I mean, you chose her on a spirit level, but so on some level you needed that kind of mom. You just didn't want that kind of mom. In some ways, there's some aspects of her that have been less enjoyable for you. So you're letting go of the wishing that she was different. You're letting go of like the fantasy of what you want her to be. And so you're just releasing sadness and grief about that she's not really that way, you know, and then sometimes she jumps in your space and it all blocks up and then you feel it more. So yeah, I would say those are the two relationships that you're sort of moving forward kind of beyond. I mean, you still have those relationships, but you're choosing the reality of those relationships versus the fantasy of those relationships. The fantasy version of those relationships. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, I would agree with your read. I just thought a little bit extra related to it, but yeah. So yeah, just keep unblocking your grounding and washing those two people out of your space, basically. Someone says, "Yep, I feel like an amazing rock star for all those lovely healing things I do." Oh, good. Glad you feel good. So it's just in time for autumn to uplift yin through lots of self-care. Yay. Thank you, Janet. I know I have limited dishes when it comes to boys because they resist my food. Yeah, your sons, cooking for your sons. When I see the baby step garden for cooking, I see bended, maybe you mean blended? Blended inner child, mom energy, and very angry walled parts. Is it realistic to work these steps so I can make progress on cooking dishes that the boys would like? You know, I'm wondering if one of them wants to learn how to cook. Because, you know, that's sort of an under-taught thing, I think, I mean, in the house I grew up in, I would have loved to be sort of mentored in cooking as a kid, but that was not considered something. It was not encouraged at all. Let's say. They kept saying your job is to study. Your job is to study. You know, so like I would have wanted like a hobby of like learning to cook different things. You know, that would have been encouraged. You know, but that was not encouraged. But I would assume that for boy children, it's even less encouraged. You know. But, you know, once you're out in the real world, you know, how the hell are you gonna eat, you know? Like, you know, so, you could turn their pickiness into a, you know, kind of a bonus and say, I think, you know, one of them's gonna cook on Tuesdays and one of them's gonna cook on, you know, or maybe they cook on Saturdays and Sundays because or maybe, maybe just one of them wants to learn how to cook. But if one of them wants to learn how to cook, maybe the younger one? But just explain that it's like something that would really impress the ladies someday. Really impress the ladies if they knew how to cook. Big time. And also, it would save them money if they knew how to cook and keep them healthier and stronger if they knew how to cook. Because I think that's kind of what the angels would love is if at least one of the boys would start learning how to cook. And, you know, if they think it's like a girl thing, just, you know, there's all sorts of, you know, guy cooking imagery and stuff you could find for them if they need that. But if you just say, you know, it's really impressive to the girls, you know, that might be enough. But anyway, so see if you can work that because that's what the angels are really rooting for versus you just, you know, threading the needle and finding the 4 dishes that they'll eat. I hope that helps. Someone says more emojis. Thank you. Spontaneous the spontaneous planning. Yeah. Planning to be spontaneous. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, if your spontaneity turns into, you know, impulse buying that screws your budget, then yeah, maybe it's time to plan some spontaneity that would be safe. This is the type of spontaneity that would be safe for my budget. You know, in advance. Someone says, "Hi, Janet. I'm grieving the fantasy relationship I never had." Yep. Well, it's a thing people have to go through sometimes. I feel like I'm also grieving from other lifetimes and grieving my mom's fantasy relationships too and my grandma's. Is that accurate? Wow, that's a lot of grieving. Well, first of all, when you are releasing the grief, it is flowing out of you. It's not getting stuck, so that's good. And yes, you are grieving from other lifetimes. Specifically that one with that person that you know now that you had a fantasy relationship with. You have some grief releasing to do from the past life when you couldn't keep dating him. So yeah, keep that up. That's going well. You could also pair your grief releasing with like biker shorts unblocking, just to keep loosening it up. So for those that don't know, biker shorts unblocking is literally, you just imagine biker shorts in that whole area. There you go. And so that area, you know, second chakra, first chakra, all those meridians and the auras around it. You know, just unblock all that. Lots of gold light, red earth energy, just keep going. But do you also have your mom's fantasy relationships or your grandma's in your space? I don't know about that. There is something to that though. I think there's a pattern that sort of leads to instability and obsession type thinking among those women that you just listed, your mom and your mom's mom. But I think if you do biker shorts unblocking for that, just like any sort of matches you have with your mom and your mom's mom about, you know, about like latching on to what you wish were true versus just being grounded in reality and creating, you know, stable, positive change that's real with that energy. Yeah, I think the fact that your mom and your grandma tend to also fixate on um compulsive thinking, I would say. You know, like ungrounded thought patterns that repeat a lot. Um, that it's something you grew up with, and it's something that it's hard for you to kind of catch yourself on. You know, it just feels like so natural. So yeah, I would that there is definitely that it's accurate, kind of. You know, it's that there's that sort of norm within your family of women being really ungrounded and compulsive and kind of fear based and insecure. That sucks. I guess that's really common though. Now maybe you just wash them out of your heart chakra too, because that's a part of all that. If you have more self love, then you know that you deserve more, you deserve better. But if you don't have a lot of self love because your fourth isn't generating enough, then the fantasy seems better than what you could create in reality. So yeah, that's accurate. You know, relating it to your mom and your grandma. Very cool. Great job. Woo! So yeah, just biker shorts unblocking, heart chakra unblocking. You know, you can do a blanket exercise too. Put out in front of you any matching blocks you have and/or energy from your grandma or your mom in your space that reinforces sort of a ungrounded, compulsive fantasy type vibe. Yeah, cool. That could be really, really, really kind of a turning point for you to make progress with that. Pretty cool. Woohoo! Good job. This is, hi, Janet. I missed the healing. Well, yeah, you missed watching it live, but you got the healing. But generally, you're doing better. That's great to hear. Good for you. Still procrastinating here and there, but self-discipline is better in terms of studying too. That's great news. I'm so happy for you. That's so cool. Wow. Good for you. That's really neat. Yeah, your 7th to 8th chakra connection seems to be especially flowing and unblocked, you know. It's like it's almost to the point where your family members are getting used to not being able to control you now. I mean, they'll probably still try, but it seems like you're just like, you kind of look at them differently on a spirit level. You're just kind of like, seriously? You don't like allow it. You don't allow them to just like barge in to your space. Like you've locked the door. You're like, no, we're not doing that. That's really boring and old. I'm tired of that. You know, it used to be you'd let them come in and then you'd like just be bummed that they barged in. But you've locked the door and they're just out there yelling at you and you're like, you're wasting your time and energy. Your choice. And so they're contemplating giving up on controlling you because it's not working. So cool. Congrats. Pretty cool. All right. Well, let's do some garden updates and pet updates. So I'll do the garden update first because that's quicker. Okay. So I'll just show some tomatoes and figs that we brought in from the garden recently. We have gotten some really significant rains. Just like, you know, it'll be like a day of rain and it'll be like a half inch of rain. And then we got another day of rain that was like over an inch of rain. A lot of rain. So I thought our tomatoes would be like split. You know, they're still mostly just still on the vines, still maturing. And I thought they would split, you know, because if you get too much rain, they get too much water in them and they start to crack and stuff. But so far they haven't, knock on wood. So excellent. So I thought I would have to pick a whole bunch just because, you know, they're splitting, but they're not right now. So that's good. So I'm just gonna get a couple tomatoes to show you. So I'll be right back. Okay, so as far as tomatoes, I almost half our tomato plants were just like kind of useless almost because I messed them up. I did like at least one thing I shouldn't have done, which stunted them. But then I think the other thing, just the soil wasn't good enough where they were planted. Oh, and then the deer too came along and ate the tops of them when they were young, which is really bad. Because for tomatoes, the top is very important. Like the plant will keep growing as long as the top is not trimmed, but as soon as you trim the top, it won't grow up anymore. And it might grow side shoots though, but if it's young and you do that, then that's a pretty significant setback. So the deer ate the tops and then whatever. And then I sprayed this stuff that was supposed to be a deer repellent that was supposed to be safe for plants. So I sprayed that on half of them, and it further stunted them in a bad way. And then maybe the soil wasn't good enough for that half of the plants, but the other half of the tomato plants were fine. They didn't get eaten by deer or whatever, you know. So they've been having an okay year. And so anyway, so we have like 4 different kinds of tomato, and all of them except one we saved from last year. Like this one I think is called Moscovich, and this is seed that I just bought from seed that I bought. I mean, I grew the plant myself this spring in the house and then planted it. But I think this is going to be a Moscovich tomato. It's not ripe yet. It's got to turn red. But I think this is a Moscovich tomato. I'm not sure because I had it on the same trellis, like one tomato plant on one side, one on the other side. And they just like intertwine. They don't care that you're trying to figure out what's what. So, but I think maybe this is going to be a Moscovich tomato, which will be a new variety for us. It was supposed to ripen early, which was the whole point of me getting this Moscovich variety, but it did not ripen early. So what's the point? I won't be doing Moscovich tomatoes again. But the other tomatoes is all saved seed from the year before, which saved seed is supposed to be better than seed you buy because you're picking it from like your best plant, you know, and then you do this like fermentation process for the seed and everything. And so it's like supposed to be really high quality if you do it yourself. So that's what I did this year for the first time. Well, I did at the end of last year. We saved seed from like my favorite plants. I fermented the seed and stored it and everything. So whatever. So this is a tomato from it's Black Krim, I think is the variety. I mean, but it saves seed and maybe it cross-pollinated, so whatever. But it's from my favorite plant last year of Black Krim variety. And so it's I would say maybe another day of ripening or 2, just so it gets a little darker red on the bottom. But it's supposed to stay green on the top, so that's not unusual. But anyway, so that is cool. And a lot of them are, I mean, these are the biggest ones of that. And I cut them because I was like, well, you know, I don't want to hurt the plant, you know, and it's got more to ripen. So I cut some of them off. But there are more on the plants, of course, out there. Hopefully not splitting. And then this tomato variety, it still is going to get a little more red. But this variety, we just named it ourselves because we couldn't figure out what it was called. So I just decided to call it Lorenzo's Red Rocket. So Lorenzo's my husband's name, and he liked this type of tomato that we had in our garden last year. And we thought it was this one variety, but then I looked it up. I looked up the pictures of what it was supposed to look like online, and that's not at all what it was. So God knows what this variety really is, but we just called it Lorenzo's Red Rocket. So, but it's growing pretty much the way we expected it to, just like last year, whatever mystery type of tomato it was. So, so Lorenzo's Red Rocket tomatoes are doing well out there. So it's kind of cute because Lorenzo will be like, "Oh, is that my tomato?" You know, like. So, but they're going to get more red too. And then the other one is just the cherry tomatoes that we're growing. And those cherry tomatoes, again, I grew them in part because they ripen faster, supposedly, but this year not so much. There are a lot of cherry tomatoes there, but there are very few that have ripened so far. But this is what they look like when they are ready. Because the variety is called dark cherry. So it's supposed to, you know, be darker, not like cherry red, you know. Not like some cherry tomatoes are like this kind of color, but they're supposed to look like this. So they'll probably be pretty tasty. But I should go out there and see if there are a bunch more to pick. Because we're trying to pick them just when they're starting to turn, so that they can ripen in the house, and that gives the plant a break so it can focus on the other tomatoes and ripen those faster, hopefully. So anyway, so that's that. And then we have a fig tree like a little dwarf fig tree that is actually not as little as it's supposed to be. It's like, "Ah," but it was supposed to be a dwarf fig tree. um, and it was supposed to be like, 5 feet in height tops, but it's like probably 7 feet in height, and that wide. But whatever. Um, and the figs look like this when they're ripe. This one will probably be pretty ripe, which is good. They ripen in the house after we pick them. I mean, you pick them, let them ripen a little bit outside, but we want to get them before they the birds get them. But there are so many out there, but they weren't ripening. But I guess recently they've started ripening faster, which is good. I was thinking, maybe next year they'll ripen faster and we'll get more harvest each year. But there are a lot of figs out there on the tree this year, when the year before we had none, we had 0. So that's kind of exciting. But they taste different than figs that you might get, that are dried from a store. I don't know if it's just the variety of fig tree that we have. That could be. Just has a different taste. They taste good. They're just not what you would expect. It's like if a plum and a pear and a peach had a baby, but it wasn't as sweet, but it was still very interesting. So it tastes like. But anyway, so that's the show and tell for that. Okay, so now the animal show and tell, the pets. I think it'll be a show and tell, but we'll see. So of course we still have our Boo Boo Kitty cat. Of course we still have Izzy, and Izzy supposedly it's his birthday today. So that's interesting. I forget how old he is though. 10, 11, something like that. I have to look it up. But the Boo Boo Kitty, BBK, is our cat that's kind of mostly feral that we've had since right before the new year. We kind of tricked her to come inside. And she's happy here, but she doesn't let us touch her. But she's happy. So that's her. And then we had Orson, and I put that in past tense. He's still alive, but there is a really interesting story about him. Okay, so we brought him inside, and I kind of tricked him into a carrier, but he was friendly. And so I kind of tricked him to go into the carrier. We brought him inside, and he was very happy. We had to limit him to just one room because Boo Boo Kitty had just had surgery, and we didn't want them to mix yet, and we wanted him to get checked out by the vet first and everything. So he was just in one room, which happened to be my husband's study. So he was all the time with my husband. They were having a great time together. And I have before showed a photo of the two of them together from right when he first came inside with us. If I could find it, there we go. So my husband wasn't really ready for the photo there, but it's just, that's my husband, Lorenzo, and that was Orson. Just a few hours after he came in, he really warmed up to us, and he was, grateful to get some sleep because he just wants to nap. And it's a lot easier to nap when you don't have to be half awake listening for predators all the time, right? So anyway, so that is Orson. But when we brought him to the vet, they found a microchip. And then, so they couldn't really go ahead with much of the exam. They did a little, but they couldn't do any testing on him or anything because, the microchip pointed back to an owner. And so they said, well, we'll try to contact the owner and, whatever. So we went back home and with Orson, and it turned out that it was a neighbor of ours who is the registered owner on the microchip, even though like Orson is always on our property. Like even in the middle of the night when it's 10 degrees below freezing, Orson will be like under our porch in the winter, or like, during the summer, he's in our garden, even around the clock at night. Like I've had a trail cam focused on him. He is there all night long. So we didn't think he would have an owner, yeah. So anyway, long story short, long story long, this guy is up the street, and he's kind of a hoarder of cats. And so he has a lot of them, and they come and go out of his house like all day, apparently, somehow. And so that's why that's maybe one of the reasons why Orson doesn't want to be around, because at least there are like at least 16 stray cats that are coming in and out of his house all the time, like just random cats that he hasn't vetted. And then there are, on top of that, cats that he considers his. And he didn't say how many those are. And sometimes in these situations, they know that it's not really like socially acceptable to have this many cats, and because you're not really able to keep a clean house with that many cats. And so, it's kind of a health risk and yada yada. So he probably has a lot more than 16 cats, like probably maybe low 30s, if I had to guess. But anyway, turns out Orson is his favorite cat, supposedly. So whatever. So he wouldn't let us keep Orson as an indoor only cat. Even though, we told him he's there in the freezing cold under our porch all the time. In the winter, he's like, well, he must like it. That's what he said. So he didn't want us to imprison Orson in our house. And he said Orson didn't choose us and blah, blah, blah. So that's that. So Orson is not our pet. He's still in our garden, every chance he gets. But he is not our house cat for legal reasons, because he's chipped to that guy. And so legally, he's that guy's cat. So even if he's never home and he's always on our property, he's legally that guy's cat, I guess. So that's kind of a thing, but whatever. So he's not our house cat. And so then, my husband needs a cat to cuddle, because then we only have Boo Boo Kitty, right, as our, of course, indoor only cat. And so therefore, so we still love Orson, but he's not our pet. So so now you saw that cat that was, there was like I said, it was a cross between a kitten and a squirrel. Let me add that on. Hold on, it'll take me one sec. So the whole thing, it was pretty emotional to, plus talking to that hoarder guy from up the street, like he was, he made these accusations that we were imprisoning his cat and all this, and, he didn't care and blah, 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 that he was freezing at night in the winter. And so it was, it was a lot, right? But oops, wait, that's not the one. There we go. But the angels kept saying, well, it's for the best. It's for the best. It's for the best. The whole mess with Orson. So, sorry about that huge view there. I gotta resize the photo. But so we decided to get a cat from a rescue that does help outdoor cats a lot, and they do a lot of good work, and they have done good work in our neighborhood with people who feed outdoor cats that actually are not hoarders and get their cats fixed. And so it's a good rescue, and they do good work, and they also have some friendly cats that they, help to get homes. And so this is who we adopted from that rescue that does good work and, helps outdoor cats, like if it's feral, they get it fixed and vaccinated and they release it out again in the wild into nature. So that whatever the caretaker can keep track of them and feed them, but they're fixed. So then, the population doesn't explode. So, but this cat, is one that they got as a kitten. He's only 4 months old. We just adopted him less than a week ago. Lorenzo named him Felix. Here he is in the photo. And here Lorenzo's gonna show him. You want to be on camera? No? Okay. Give him to me to show. Felix right here. Hey, baby boy. You're so cute. I love you. Love you, baby boy. So that's Felix, and this is why he's part squirrel. This big fluffy tail of his. Oh, yours. What do you think about the microphone? So that's Felix. Okay. Little cuteness dose. And he has giant feet. Kind of funny. Really big feet for a. Thank you, Lorenzo. But Lorenzo had to. I didn't really want any extra pets, even Boo Boo Kitty. I mean, I love them, but I was like, let's just not have pets, or let's have, let's let them, the numbers naturally reduce, and that's that, but Lorenzo wanted cuddly cats, and so that's how we got Boo Boo, even though she's not cuddly. And then in the name of Lorenzo getting a cuddly cat, we got Felix is his name. So so that's that. So the thing was, I didn't want these cats to bond to me, because we call me like, what do we call me, Dr. Doolittle or something, Dr. something, where like my vibe, the fact that I meditate and I ground or something, like the animals in the house tend to gravitate towards me. Plus I'm the one that feeds them. I used to be, but now with the cats, these new cats, like, I mean, I fed Boo Boo Kitty in the last week or so, just because Lorenzo was preoccupied with the Orson thing and now the Felix thing. But going forward, Lorenzo feeds the cats for sure. So then they bond to him, hopefully. I mean, Boo Boo Kitty, whatever. It's not like she's super bonded to either of us. But Felix, the Lorenzo spends a ton of time with Felix, which is perfect, because then he's really bonded to Lorenzo, which is great, because I did not want that responsibility, because I'm used to having animals like glued to me all the time, and I just, it's hard, because then if I go out and garden, they're like freaking out because they can't see me, and I'm just like, I'm done with that. So fortunately, Lorenzo and Felix are very close, which delights me. So that's Felix. So now you know. So Felix is only 4 months old, and he's gotten most of his shots already, I guess, but we have to take him to the vet to get the rabies shot. And yeah. But it's really the first cat that we've adopted from a rescue, because all the other cats I've trapped myself back in Chicago. They were abandoned strays. I mean, Zen was feral. She was 5 months old, and I did my best at socializing her. And then, but the others, well, actually, Yo-Yo we adopted from a rescue when he was a kitten. We fostered him as a kitten. But then Bambi and Smokey, I trapped, with humane traps out in Chicago, because there's so many cats that are homeless, and you can give them a home. But so this one we just got straight from a rescue, and they'd already done most of the shots and everything, so it is easier to let the rescue do the work for you. We've adopted our dogs from rescues, but yeah. So anyway, that's that. Now you know. Felix's name is because Lorenzo's a cartoonist, and Felix the cat is a cartoon, an old school cartoon. Lorenzo's very old school because he's 68 years old. So Felix the cat is a cartoon, and so that's why he's named Felix. But he has a nickname of Squirrel because he looks like a squirrel. Because I guess he's a medium hair cat, but the hair on his body lays flat, but on his tail it poofs out. And just the way he moves and how his tail moves, he really reminds you of a squirrel when you just watch him running around and hopping everywhere. And he really seems more like a squirrel sometimes. So that's his like secret name that we can refer to him, so he doesn't know we're talking about him. But anyway, so yeah, that's it. Are you going to can your tomatoes? Somebody asks. No, it's a little too much thought. What we end up doing is we just give away the extras that we have. I like that. I think last year I gave away to like 14 or 15 different households or something, at least, if I'm remembering, which was kind of fun, you know, to like have that many households have like nice, fun surprise fresh tomatoes, you know? Not like we have that many friends, but it's like we give them away to neighbors, and like Lorenzo has people that he knows, you know, through comic books and stuff. And we gave some to our chiropractor and the receptionist at our chiropractor's office, and you know, different people. So that's what we do with the extras. I mean, you know, a lot of them will end up picking green before they ripen outside, and they'll just start ripening slowly in the house, and then you just isolate the green ones. So this is tomato talk. So you just isolate the pure green ones separately from the ones that are starting to turn color, because the ones that are starting to turn color start releasing whatever chemical it is. I forget what it is that ripens them and what's nearby. So if you separate the purely green ones and you keep checking the purely green ones, and as soon as they start turning, you put them with the ripening bunch, and then the pure green ones stay unripened for longer that way if you keep sorting them. So we'll have, knock on wood, if I can pick the ones outside before they split, you know, whenever I need to do that, we'll probably have tomatoes for, you know, I think last year it was like through, I want to say mid-December, we had tomatoes to eat, you know, for dinners and breakfasts and stuff. My dream is someday to have tomatoes during the summer that I've grown. But so far, that's an unrealized dream. I keep striving. Squirrel. Good cat name story. Yep. Lorenzo actually has a video. I just don't have it ready to show you, but he has a video of Felix chasing his tail, and and you can hear the Felix the cat cartoon playing in the background. Anyway, so it says people appreciate your tomatoes. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, they do. So that's good. We have one neighbor, they're always like, no, thanks, we're fine. I think they don't really cook. So they just get takeout all the time. But we have other neighbors that appreciate them. And in fact, one neighbor, she was always very uncomfortable with the fact that I'm an energy healer, but since she started getting produce from our garden, she's relaxed a little bit about the fact that I'm an energy healer. I mean, she's never told me that, but I can just kind of tell. But the angels call it tomato diplomacy. Okay. All right, you guys are amazing. I could show Izzy the birthday boy. Let's see if I can move the camera a little bit. Yeah, see Izzy right there? He has his cone on, so you can't see him well at all. But that's Izzy right there. And supposedly today is his birthday. So he's napping in honor of his birthday. As usual. So it says, when I visited the UK, they served sliced warm tomatoes with sunny side up eggs. Well, that sounds good. Yeah, we had a tomato. Lorenzo put the tomato on our cauliflower pizza that we had last night. He picks the seeds out and then puts the tomato on the pizza before he cooks it. All right, you guys are amazing. Take care. I hope you're having a good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever's next for you. And the next healing will be on Sunday and then on Wednesday for this set. And if you want to be healed in the next set, feel free to check out my website, jwhealing.com. Happy birthday, Izzy. Yes, happy birthday, Izzy. Okay, bye. You're amazing. Yay. I don't know why it's showing me green, but whatever. Freaking camera. Bye.